Hi everyone, this is Siddharth Desai. I am coming to you for the first time after India won the Sydney Test match, and what a fantastic victory it was. When the Test match started and the way the Test match was going, Australia dominated the Test match, to be fair, for the first 4 days. And when they set us a target of 407 runs with 4 sessions to bat, 131 overs, not many people gave India the chance of drawing the test match. Well, we got off to a good start, but at the beginning of day five, when Ajinkya Rahane got out, we lost the third wicket in the second over of the day. And at that time, all those optimists, like I was one of them, even those optimists thought that this would be a little hard to achieve now with Ajinkya Rahane gone this early. But, this Indian team has shown time and again that it has the fighting spirit and it is willing to go above and beyond, the popular expectation of people and deliver something that is miraculous in more ways than one. If Melbourne was one of the all-time great Indian victories in Test match cricket, I think Sydney will go down as one of the most memorable draws in world cricket and certainly in Indian cricket. Now, you know, the heroes of this particular draw, certainly Rishabh Pant, because when Rahane got out, Rishabh Pant came in, and we didn't know what kind of a situation he would be in with the injury that he had in the first innings. Um, but he came in and he had taken a lot of painkillers. We came to know later on, taken a lot of injections. And he took his time, took about 35 deliveries to score his first few runs, was also dropped on two different occasions by wicketkeeper Tim Paine, and we'll come to Tim Paine later on in this conversation. But boy, what an innings he played. That talent that he has was on full display. He just took on Nathan Lyon and he neutralized him at a very early stage. And I think neutralizing the spinner was a very important objective on day five for India, because India, if they would have allowed the spinner Nathan Lyon to dominate early on, and he had already taken Ajinkya Rahane's wicket. If we would have allowed him to settle down, then I think he would have been a very difficult customer as the day went on. But Rishabh Pant changed all that. He just hit him out of the attack. And what Rishabh Pant's innings did is it allowed India to think about a win for some time when he was going on. When he got out on 97, India was just within 200 runs of the victory with with a couple of sessions left. So, and the other thing that it achieved is it just pushed the Australians on the back foot. When innings like this happens, you could see the fear on the Australians' faces. Their shoulders were dropping, there was fear on their face. Suddenly they were thinking that maybe we could lose this test match. So from trying to win the test match, they were actually afraid of losing the test match. And when you have that kind of a psychological impact on the opposition that early or halfway during the day, I think your job becomes a little easier. So even when Rishabh Pant got out, you saw that the Australians were then, there was a sigh of relief on their faces. They were relieved that at least now we cannot lose this test match. At least it could be a draw from here, if not a win. So, and later on again, full credit to Vihari and Ashwin, Pujara as well, because with Pujara again, got a lot of criticism for scoring a very slow 50 in the first innings. Well, he batted in a similar style. Well, he showed a little more intent, I think, in this innings than he did in the first one. But what he goes to show is his style of batting is also very important. And his style of batting is such that from the other side, the other batsman then has to do the scoring, because Pujara plays in a certain way, which is also important because he neutralizes the fast bowlers. He tires them out, he takes a shine of the ball, but his style of play is such that, when you have another player on the other end playing his shots and scoring all the runs, that's when his style of play becomes effective. I think he had a pivotal role in that partnership that he had with Rishabh Pant, because you could see the conversation, the rapport that they were having with each other, and they complemented each other very well as well. And then later on, Vihari and Ashwin as well. Vihari pulled his hamstring, so he was not able to run. So we shut the shop very early, but full credit to them, for the way they hung out against a top class bowling attack on a day 5 pitch where there was a little bit of an up and down bounce, and the Australians were targeting their bodies. They were bowling on their bodies, so both the batsmen took a lot of blows on their bodies, but they manfully carried on and saw India through the entire day and achieved one of the most memorable draws. So the heroes of these draws, hats off to them. Rishabh Pant, Pujara, Ashwin and Vihari. Everyone has got berated at some point or the other, but they all came together to script a memorable test match for India over here. Now the Australians, as you would expect and as we have seen before, the Australians were again down to what they know best when they are under pressure, which is unsportsmanlike behavior. It was in full display over here. Quite a few players. So Tim Paine, their captain, his behavior in this test match was unfortunately unbefitting of a national captain. I think his argument with the umpire, where he basically abused, and then his conversation with Ashwin, where he said, we're waiting to see you in the Brisbane test match. And from there on, it just went quite downhill, with the Australian captain throwing abuses at Ashwin as well, which is extremely disappointing to see, especially in the coming from a national captain. Of course, he went on to apologize later on, but he had no option but to do that because he's the captain of the Australian team. Again, his reference to Ashwin saying that, hey Ashwin, we are waiting to see you in the Gabba test match. I think it just showed that he wasn't able to bear the fact that India was doing so well and fighting out a draw in Sydney, and that's why he was in the future. He was just struggling to stay in the present and accept the fact that India was actually pulling off a magnificent draw. And also, he was very ordinary in terms of his tactics, I think. Firstly, he dropped catches. He dropped Rishabh Pant twice. He dropped Vihari once. And then his tactics, you saw the fielders. There could have been a leg gully with the line of attack that the Australian bowlers had, bowling at the bodies of these batsmen. He could have had a leg gully, had no fielders in the leg gully position, which saw a lot of deliveries kind of getting off from the batsman's gloves or a bat and falling in that direction. And there was no batsman to catch that. So even from a tactical standpoint, I think he was not up to the mark, and he will be in tremendous pressure going into the last test match, because believe it or not, he will be playing in order to save or extend his captaincy and his place in the side. The other player is Steve Smith, of course, and we all know the great Steve Smith and the record that he has in terms of these things. So it almost seems like he hasn't learned his lesson from the sandpaper gate, and for which he was stripped of the captaincy. He was banned from playing international cricket for a year, or any form of cricket for a year. He came out and, he tried to scruff out the batting mark for Rishabh Pant. And who does that? It's such a childish and immature kind of behavior. It was easily picked up by the stump camera. And again, for a senior player to do something like that, it just shows how narrow-minded, how immature the Australian players are, and how unsportsmanlike they are. I mean, when things don't go their way, they can resort to any means. And we have seen this from the Australians on many occasions before. The 2008 Sydney Test match, the exact same venue, was a prime example of such ridiculous behavior. I think it's not gone unnoticed. I'm sure the Australian selectors, the Australian Cricket Board must have taken a note at all these incidents, and hopefully they will take some action on these players. Well, Matthew Wade also was disappointing. I mean, he aimed at the body of Vihari instead of going for the stump. His objective was definitely to get under the skin of the batsman. But again, in spite of all this, credit to the way Ashwin and Vihari hung out there, not letting any of this affect their concentration and seeing India through to a famous draw. Now, moving on to the last test match. Oh, yeah, before we do that, again, poor Mohammad Siraj, once again had to deal with racial abuse. Again, it was from a section of the crowd over here, and this is not the first time that something like this has happened in Australia. There were people who were then taken out of these stands. But I think racism doesn't have a place in cricket, and right action should be taken against the culprits. It's not the entire Australian crowd. Most of the Australian crowd wants to see good cricket, but there are a few mischief creators who come out there, get drunk, get high, and they do these things which are certainly in bad taste. And I'm sure the Australian Cricket Board will take strict action against these culprits and prevent them from entering any cricket ground for future matches. Now, the fourth test match at Brisbane. Again, India has the moral edge. India did well in this particular test match and acquired the edge over Australia. But in Sydney, again, it's not going to be easy, but it has never been easy for India all through the test series. And every time this team has surprised, gone above and beyond all expectations and delivered fine performances one after the other. Melbourne was awesome. Sydney was fantastic. So whoever plays or whoever doesn't play, now there are reports that Bumrah is unfit to play as well. Bumrah may not be participating at the Gabba, and it is a big blow for sure. But I feel like, with this team, with the leadership that this team has, and you heard Ajinkya Rahane yesterday come out and say that all he wants his players to do is to fight till the end and not worry about the results. Now, that is the constant message that seems to be going down to the players, and the players seems to be responding fantastically to that message so far. And I certainly feel that it is going to happen again in the fourth test match. India is going to come out fighting, whoever plays. I think we've lost Ravindra Jadeja now. We have lost Jasprit Bumrah as well. So there will be new players coming in. Either Shardul Thakur or Natarajan will make his debut. Kuldeep Yadav might play. Prithvi Shaw or Mayank Agarwal might come in as well. Now again, Mayank Agarwal also went for a scan. So we don't know at this point who the playing 11 will be. But what we do know is whoever plays is going to put up a tremendous fight. And I think this team is going to achieve something very special. I really feel that the resistance of the Australians is very near the breaking point. And if India can come in, it could come from anywhere. If Rohit Sharma can come in and score a big 100, if Ajinkya Rahane can score another big 100, if Rishabh Pant can pull off another innings like the one in Sydney, if all the bowlers, whoever plays, even in spite of Bumrah, can come together and huddle together as a team and hunt for wickets, anything is possible. I certainly feel this team is going to go for glory at Brisbane. And, with their determination and with their fighting spirit, I wouldn't be surprised if they achieve that glory in Brisbane in a few days' time. I will keep coming back to you with more updates. Thank you so much for your time today and listening to me. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you like the content. I will talk to you soon.